What's good, my dudes? This is Josh coming at you today with a new episode of Anime Reviews. This week, we're covering Ya Boy Kongming, aka Papiri Kongming. Overall thoughts on the show, it was pretty fun. I was surprised with how it ended up going. I was initially introduced to the series through the intro itself, and I'll be honest, not a huge fan of the intro. It's very repetitive. It's the same thing over and over and over again. I showed it to a couple of my friends, they thought the same thing, and it gets even more repetitive the more you listen to it. And you know, it was just okay. And then the dancing, oh my god. The dancing is too in sync. The more people they have on the screen, you can't all be perfectly in sync. It makes no sense. It's unnatural. It looks weird. I didn't like it. Please stop that. So that really took away from my liking of the intro, so I pretty much skipped it every single time when I actually watched the show now. Somehow I did come around to actually finally watching the show now because I'd seen some other people recommend it, and I was like, whatever, I'll give it a shot. And I'm so glad that I did, because the show had such a nice, fun, heartwarming vibe to it the whole time around, and I loved it. It was so fun to watch. Now we're gonna get right into the characters. Let's start out with Eiko. And I got one word for you, boys. Legs. Legs. Legs! Legs! You like legs? We got some legs for you. I swear, there was not a scene in this show where this girl showed up without having booty shorts on, and hey, I don't got a problem with that. Besides that, she was actually a pretty fun character, though. She was very driven in her goal throughout the entire show. She was like, I'm going to be a good singer. People are going to listen to me. Let's do it. She wasn't super confident with herself at the beginning, but she grew confidence as the show went on, and it was so nice to see her actually be able to accomplish the goals that she wanted to go for. Next, we've got the owner of the establishment. It just goes by owner, kind of a funny name. He was just a fun character, interacting with Kongming the whole time, just being like, you're actually Kongming. I figured it out right away because I know all of these Three Kingdoms things, and they just had this fun little chemistry going the entire show where they're like, oh yes, I do know that, haha. He was also a very helpful character because a lot of the show you've got Kongming describing things that are like, this is some crazy elaborate strategy that's going on. Instead of just doing it in his head or out loud, he's saying it to another person out loud, so it's not this weird, I guess he's just kind of monologuing the whole time. You've got the nice Joey Wheeler sort of a character, or more of like a Taya character, where it's like, hey, I'm just here to describe what's happening on screen. And next we got Kongming himself, and he was a delight. I was expecting so little out of him. I thought it was just going to be this crazy, like, oh, he doesn't know what's going on the whole time thing, but they gave him a lot more character development than that. They made him a very helpful guy. He was very determined. He said, I'm gonna help you, Eiko. I loved your singing. You're a great person. Keep it up, believe in yourself. And it's so heartwarming to have this guy just go around and be like, hey, you can do this. I believe in you. It was great to see. And then lastly, for main characters, we got Kabe, the guy that comes in halfway through the show as the rapper of the group. And this guy was pretty good at rapping. The way they introduced him, just kind of walking around town, doing some freestyling here and there, it was pretty cool just to see that his whole life is rap. And unfortunately, he has some issues that cause him to not be able to do it. And it's nice to see him be able to work through those as the show goes on and actually be able to fulfill his goal that he wants to do as well. Because yet again, we got Kongming just helping a character out, being like, hey, you can work through these issues. Now, onto the plot of the show itself. I appreciated the originality of the show. It felt definitely different. I don't think I've really seen a reincarnation show from this sort of an aspect where it's some random historic figure getting reincarnated to a different time. Usually it's just an isekai sort of a deal, and it wasn't that. She did try to get some assistance from Train-san to get an isekai of her own, but the owner was like, you're coming with me, you're working at this bar. But outside of that, you know, it was a pretty original concept on that, and I like how they didn't mess around too much with he's reincarnated to a current time. What's this? What's this? We're a knockoff of Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, no, they didn't do that. They did a short montage that lasted maybe, 10 minutes on here's the weird stuff going on in the show, and that was it. They didn't do that anymore. By the second episode, he's like a master of everything that's in that world, and I'm glad they didn't dwell on that because that would have been really annoying, and I was getting slice of life vibes from the start, and it wasn't slice of life, luckily, because I'm not a huge fan of slice of life, and I'm very happy that it was a more story-driven show with some comedy elements here and there, and it wasn't just, you know, messing around the whole time. The next thing I really appreciate about the plot is that they didn't just BS their way through problems with the most obvious solution. And the first big problem that they have in the show, they have this big music competition going on between the main character and some other person, where this other person that's pretty popular says, hey, main character, go to this thing, you can be popular when you go there. And main character's like, okay, I'll go there. But she ends up being there at the exact same time slot as the person that lured her into doing it, so that way that the other person that has viewers gets all of the viewers from the main character, since she's not popular at all, and they all go to the other concert. And I was just expecting them to be like, okay, simple. The old switcheroo. Oh, you're actually on this stage. Oh, you're actually on this stage. Shows up on stage. Oh, wow, there's a million people here. Well, I guess just listen to me. And they didn't do that. They came up with a harebrained, crazy solution to it, but it was still pretty funny in the end how it ended up going out. So I like that it wasn't predictable. The less predictable, the better the show's probably going to be. So good on them. I also like how Kongming was really just helpful to everybody in the show. It wasn't just the main character where she had some issues going on. Even the people that were rivals in the show that would do things against them, and then they would have to come back and do something cheeky to get the advantage, he would still, at the end of the day, go up to them and be like, hey, I'm sorry this happened to you. Let me try to solve your actual problems you're having in life. Like maybe you're having like some throat issues and I can help you to resolve those. Maybe you're having some other injury, I can help you with that. Maybe yada, yada, yada. And he did that. He was legitimately trying to help people be better people and improve themselves in life. And it was a nice message that came across. It's like, yeah, don't just blame the world for your problems. Maybe you are the problem and you need to solve it yourself and better yourself. Moving on the show, the rap battles that happened with Kabe showed up were really cool. I just liked the back and forth that they had going on between them. It was like, bah, 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 you know, not a rapper myself, but I liked it. All the rap scenes were nice. However, after that, he ends up, joining up with the main character, Eiko, and they become like a little unit together, and they do their whole band thing together, but they don't really hang out together for some reason. There's very few scenes that we see them establishing that, hey, we're friends now, we're doing all this together. No, they kind of join up as the band and then go their separate ways, and then at the end of the show, they're like, okay, we're doing our thing now. It's like, oh, I guess it's just a professional relationship. I thought they'd be a little bit closer and more friendly. That was a little sad that didn't happen, but, it is what it is. And then we come to the ending of the show, and I wasn't a huge fan of how it ended. Like, I liked what they did, but I would prefer of them to have done that about 2 episodes earlier in the show, and then actually end the show with the original goal of doing like a concert thing, and do that instead, because that would have just been more satisfying, and they could have wrapped the whole show up in this one season. Now it's going to go into another season, which I'm not against having another season, but they could have finished the whole show in this one season, I would assume. I mean, there's probably 15 million more chapters of the manga, and they have got tons of plans in the future, but I'm just saying, a lot of shows don't get new seasons, and it's kind of hard for you to put faith in a show that, yeah, it's going to have another season. So generally, I would say you want to get it all done in one go. But, good luck to them. I hope they do get another season on it. Besides that, opening and the outro for the show. Like I said, opening, not a huge fan. I already kind of talked about that. The outro was pretty good. I liked the outro. It was fun to listen to every once in a while. All the other songs in the show were also really good. It's just the intro that I kind of had an issue with. So, hey, that's good. If you have all the other songs on point, good on you. So, we're going to come down to the rating now, and I'm going to give the show a nice 8 out of 10, which is higher than I feel like I give a lot of shows. I'm usually pretty lowballing with trying to give shows ratings, but it was fun the entire way around. It was surprising. I wasn't expecting it. It was so refreshing compared to things that I usually watch. And if you just want like a nice, relaxed, goofy show, but also has some actual story behind it, definitely watch the show. I would recommend. And with that, we come to the end of the episode. So thanks for watching. Give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.